Kanye West has said a lot of crazy things. I think we can all agree on that. But one of the things he said that may have been right is the situation with his children. Now, this picture is going viral of Northwest, his daughter, and Northwest's mother, Kim Kardashian. But this picture is going viral. Why? Because Northwest is 12 years old. And yes, I had to double check the age too. It is 12 years old, and you can only imagine the type of backlash and controversy happened all over the internet after that picture was uploaded.
Hey, Shalom, brother. Shalom. This is Brother Howard of GMS Toronto, coming back with another one. And Kanye West knew exactly what he signed up for. And what did he sign up for? As a high priest, he signed up for either child sacrifice, or he signed up for child sex magic, which obviously it looks like him and his ex-wife, which is a high priestess, they signed up for the child sex magic, which is what we are watching. Because depending on what generation these people are, because you have different generation when it comes to something known as the bloodline ladder of a high priest and high priestess. When they have a union, when they have a sex union, right, which is where you get all the different symbology when you're going into these different rituals. Whenever you see the different occults, right? The man, woman coming together. When you see the Gucci sign, the two G's coming together, right? You might see the Louis Vuitton, the LV coming together, the Chanel, the two C's coming together. That represents a sex union. Okay, and this is their divine child, right? And that divine child, or that bloodline, whether it's first generation all the way up to the fifth generation, represents something different. So, depending on who this child is or what generation this is, her duties or her role might be different, right? But always remember, the highest form of ritualistic sex, or the highest form of magic, is ritualistic sex. And higher than ritualistic sex is sex with a child or prepubescent, right? This is what these high witches, high priests, high priestess, right? Warlocks, this is what they believe. Believe it or not. I don't care if you people believe it or not. You people watch it on your TV daily. You people interact with these people daily. And then after, right? Because you'll have a lot of these child, quote unquote, prodigies, right? These are not prodigies. You'll have a lot of these children that they were abused. They went through the different programs, like the Project Bluebird, right? Which you people now know as Twitter, right? You signed up for something known as Twitter, which that guy, Elon Musk, he took over and he changed it to X. Well, X, and it's black. Guess what? Guess who's that's for? That's for Osiris, right? That X is for Osiris, the god of the dead. Now, the Project Bluebird was the MK Ultra program. That MK Ultra program was mind control, right? To where they can learn how to tap in to control people into people's different personalities, and they can program it to where they have the keys for these people, right? I think it was DJ Khaled, Future. They had that song, I got the keys, 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 right? That's the keys. When you're a high level priest or priestess, you get the keys. You become a controller, or you become a programmer, right? When you become a programmer, that's when you're on a high level, because you're able to tap into the different levels or the different personalities of these people, right? Quote unquote child prodigies, right? These different child prodigies like Kanye West, They are controlled, right? They are controlled. They are bought and paid for. And this young lady on Northwest, best believe she has gone through the rituals as well, and she's going to continue to go through the rituals. But what I was saying is that a lot of these Disney stars and these Nickelodeon stars, sometimes they break, right? Because that MK Ultra, it can wear off, and when it wears off, these people, they snap, right? They lose it. Like Martin Lawrence, he lost it. He went on a mental break. What's her name? Mariah Carey, right? Dave Chappelle, right? A lot of these people, they have mental breaks to where the world or the media gets to demonize them like they're crazy. They're not crazy. There's another guy. Oh my gosh, I think he was the guy on That's So Raven. I can't remember, but Orlando Brown. I think that's his name, Orlando or something like that. A lot of people are saying that he's crazy, but he's talking about the different rituals that are going on in the industry, but people just demonize him like he's just a crazy person. Britney Spears, she was a part of the Disney programming, and to be honest, we all are a part of the Disney program, even me myself, because as a child, I grew up on Disney, which means that I was a part of the Disney program. I was a part of the different Nickelodeon programs. If you watch Nickelodeon or, whatever it is that you watched as a child, those were different programmings. Because when you watch Disney, Disney promotes child sex magic, believe it or not. Disney or Mickey Mouse, when you're making your child watch Disney, you're making your child watch Mickey Mouse, you're making your child watch a witch and witchcraft. That's all that Mickey Mouse does. Mickey Mouse is a high level priest. Minnie Mouse, she's a high level priestess. Believe it or not. Believe it or not. You people don't have to believe it, but this is what it is, right? But like I was saying, when you're going into this young lady, Northwest, she's going through a child ritualistic abuse, and it's seen as purity, right? Because they are untouched, right? That's the representation of what? Of a virgin, right? Because all women are supposed to be virgins until they get a man, right? When they get a man, that union between them and a man, right? After they've passed the flower, right? In this sense of the left hand side, the child is not supposed to pass the flower. They actually want a prepubescent child, a child before she's had her flower, and even for a boy as well. And where does that happen? Where they lay with boys? That happens in the Catholic Church, right? With these different priests, right? These different priests. That's been happening in the Catholic Church. It's huge. It's very big in the Catholic Church. That's to let you know that they are not followers of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. They are followers of these different occult systems, mainly the oh my gosh, what is that system called? What is that god? That god that goes back to the Persians. Oh my gosh, damn. And that sun, they have their sun god. They worship the sun god. Shit, it's eluding me right now. I can't remember, but that's why they lay with young boys, because they feel like that's where they're gonna gain that life force or that purity, right? Because what they're doing, they're corrupting what the Most High has deemed righteous, because they're breaking what's good, and they're doing something taboo, right? When you go into Aleister Crowley, if you've ever studied Aleister Crowley, which is a high level witch, right? Which this demon Jay-Z, that's who he follows. He follows a guy by the name of Aleister Crowley, and what they do, they try to profane. That's all that they do, right? Look that word up. They try to profane what's good and what's righteous. Now, this is Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 10, and it reads, "There shall not be found among you any one that maketh his son or his daughter pass through the fire." And this is what Kanye West and Kim Kardashian have signed up for, right? They've already signed up for it, right? There's levels to it, right? You have the standard sex magic where you have orgasm with intent. This is where a lot of our women, right? A lot of you brothers, right? And when I say brothers, I'm not just talking about brothers in the truth. I'm talking about you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. You men, we're messing with a lot of women that are low-level witches, right? But they'll do the standard sex magic to where they might take their period blood and rub it on their breasts. They might take their period blood and put it in your food, right? These are the low-level things that these women are doing to try and get you to fall in love with them. Okay? Then you have something known as group sex, which in modern times they call it like orgies, right? Where you have multiple sex partners. It could be men and women, right? Then you have incest, right? Where you may lay with a family member, right? Remember, these are all things that are written in the Bible. They're written in the Bible for a reason. They're written in the Bible to let us know what we should not do, what we could do, and what we could not do. When it lets you know, oh, don't lay with your father's wife, because that's your mother, or that could be his concubine or whatever. It lets you know, don't lay with your brother's wife, because these were the things that the heathens were practicing, right? Then you have bestiality. Bestiality is big as well. You'll be surprised. There's a place in South America where the first time these young boys have sex is with, I think, a cow or a goat, right? And then you have the child abuse, right? We'll call it what it is. We'll call it child abuse, where a person, right, man or woman, lays with a prepubescent boy or girl, right? This is one of the highest forms of power in the occult systems, right? Because what it's doing, it's violating the innocence of the child, right? The child will be broken, right? That's a part of MK Ultra as well. And then even higher than that, right, is child sacrifice, right? Child sacrifice, the blood of that child is very sacred in these dark occult teachings and these different mystery school systems, right? This is how these people, this is how they gain power. This is what's known as occult power, right? Because sex is seen as one of the most powerful forms of magic, right? That's what it's doing. You have to understand it's tapping into to life, into life force, or the life energy, right? This is what these people use. So it reads, "There shall not be found among you any one that maketh his son or his daughter pass through the fire, or that uses divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch." And that's exactly what Kim Kardashian is. That's exactly what Kanye West is. And that's exactly what their daughter is already. Their daughter is that already from she's born, because she's born from a high priest and a high priestess. They already look at her like that. She's already an inductee. She's already an initiate. So everything she's going to be doing is going to be to forward that bloodline, right? That lineage of a priest and priestess because of who her parents are, because of how she was probably born. You have to understand, for Kanye West and Kim Kardashian to have her, they didn't just have regular sex. They weren't just fucking one day. You understand? They probably did some demonic shit. They probably did it on a specific day. They probably did it at a specific time. Okay? This is how these people operate.
This is what Kanye said. I don't want to just see my kids. I want to raise them. I need to have a say.
Exactly. And what's a kid? Because when you refer to your children as kids, you're referring to them as a sacrifice, right? Because a kid is a goat, right? That's why they call you people, you people, your children, they call them kids. Because at the end of the day, none of our children really and truly belong to us at the end of the day. None of us. Our children have been taken away from us contractually through these birth certificates, right? They've been taken away from us through the contractual system that they have to sign up for. Our children are actually stock options. They're really and truly not ours. They can be taken from us at any time. Our children are ours um, only by blood, right? We give birth to them, but the international bankers, right? They own them. They own them through the contract that we signed before we can even leave the hospital with them. That proves that your child is actually not yours. Because if you try to leave the hospital with the child without signing the birth certificate, right, then they would call the police on you. They would call the police on you. They would tell you that you're stealing the child. How could I steal something that came out of me? Right? If you were pregnant, right, and you had your child at home and you never signed up your child for the birth certificates and the health card and the this and the that, if you don't put your child in the system, they're going to look at your child like your child is not even real. They're going to look at you like, okay, where did this child come from? They're going to look at you like you're a criminal and all you did was give birth, right? But because they have us under their what's that system? Oh my gosh, man, that birthing system. It's a oh my gosh, it's a law code, law of the seas, right? That's like when the ships come in, they have to give birth, which is the manifest of whatever is on the ship. Maritime law, right? We're under something known as maritime law, right? That's what we're under. We're under maritime law. That's what they're using to control us, right? That's why our names are in all caps. We're not real people. They don't look at us like flesh and blood because we have no power in this society. We have no power in this system, okay?
Of where they go to school, who their friends are, and who houses they sleep in. My daughters wear lipstick and perfume. All of these rights have been taken from me by the Kardashian mob.
All our rights have been taken by the government, right? All of us, all of our children, right, are now in a system where they are being indoctrinated under this Luciferian ideology. It's bigger than what we all know because once we all sit down, we're all watching the same thing, which means we're all being influenced by who? By the influencers. Who are the influencers? They're all bought and paid for by these high level corporations, whether it be Disney, whether it be this, whether it be that, right? When I was growing up, you had something known as YTV. You had this, you had that. I can't even remember all of them right now because they're all high level witches, right? All high level witches, and they all link with these different high level corporations. Because once the child prodigies or the child stars get big, then you start to see their clothing, you start to see their toys in where? In these different corporations. Now you're able to buy them, and they're now you are a fan, right? Because when I was a child, I had Aladdin sheets, right? Going into what? Going into witchcraft, because Aladdin had what? He had a genie, right? He had a genie that can grant him wishes. Man, I don't think you people understand the level, the depths of evil in this society. The depths of evil is higher than you will ever truly know. That's why I laugh at people when they find out about the truth, and they're just like, oh my gosh, you men of GMS, you're this and you're that because you preach that a woman can get married after her flower. But after her flower, she could be 12, she could be 13, she could be 14. Do you people know that in this society that they promote sex with children? Don't you know the highest level of the healthcare system, right? Where you people learn about sex education, that they're teaching sex education to kids that are in grade one, kids that are in grade two. What does a fuck does a grade one or a grade two or grade three need to learn about sex education? But you people sign up for that, but you won't sign up for a woman not even being married, but being betrothed. Because in the scriptures, it lets you know at what age we become an adult, meaning that we are under the law, meaning that we're under the covenant. That's all that it means, right? In under the law just means that you are now away from your parents' guardianship, because you now have authority of yourself in a way to where you're now keeping the law. You can't blame your parents. Before the age of 12, if your parents give you pork, you can blame your parents and say, oh, my parents did this, my parents did that. After the age of 12, you no longer can blame your parents because you are now under the law for yourself. Now, this is Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 31, and it reads, thou shalt not do so unto the Lord thy power, for every abomination to the Lord which he hateth have they done unto their gods. For even their sons and their daughters they have burnt in the fire to their gods. Right? But it's also going into the different abominations. And what's one of the abominations? And who's one of their gods? Well, we're speaking about it. Let's look at their hand. Let's look at their hand gestures.
By the Kardashian mob, who
See? I don't know if you could see it well, but what hand gesture is Northwest throwing up? She's throwing up the hand gesture of the horn god or the horn deity, which really is going into the god of the witches, the god of witchcraft. His name is Pan. Pan was a pansexual, right? Or like what's his name? Peter Pan, which was the programming that Michael Jackson was under, and we were under that programming as well, because growing up, one of the biggest movies was Peter Pan with that degenerate Mrs. Doubtfire, and Mrs. Doubtfire was a man. Okay, you see how they do that, Mrs. Doubtfire. Damn, I can't remember that guy. He's dead now. Big time actor, man. Huge, huge, huge actor. He played Peter Pan. Damn, can't remember his name. He died, but an Edomite guy. But a lot of us were under that Peter Pan programming as well. But Michael Jackson was under that Peter Pan programming, which is why he created Never Never Land. So did Michael Jackson abuse those little kids? Of course he did. Of course he did. Right? Because that's what they believe. They believe in that mystery school Babylonian teaching, or that Talmudic, right, which goes back to the Talmud, or that the Kabbalah, right? They believe in these different dark teaching, because when you go into the Kabbalah, right, they believe in that cosmic balance. Okay, that's what they believe. Or when you go into the Talmud, that's what they believe. They teach these things in these different books, right? When you go into these different teachings, that's what they believe, right? That's why Northwest is throwing up to the horn deity. Who's her horn deity? Her horn deity is what's his name? Not Pan, the other one. Oh my gosh. He has the breasts. See? When you consume too much knowledge, sometimes you forget even the basic the basic sometimes you forget the basic things, right? But that God goes back to Pan, right? Which these different witches, warlocks, priests, priestesses, that is their God. Baphomet, that's the god I was thinking about. Baphomet, right? That god Baphomet, right? So you have to understand the high level of the demonic practices of these different people. Now, this is Leviticus chapter 20, verse 1, and it reads, "And the Lord spake unto Moses," right? And the Lord is in all caps because this is talking about Yahweh, right? And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, "Again, thou shalt say to the children of Israel, whosoever he be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn in Israel, that giveth any of his seed unto Molech, he shall surely be put to death." Right? So that's what Kanye West, sorry, that's what Kanye West and Kim Kardashian have signed up for. Right? They have made a pledge or an oath with death. That's why they worship the gods of death, like Osiris, right? The different gods of death, like the goddess Kali, right? You people have to understand why we're in a cycle of death. We're in a cycle of death because we've made a death pledge, right? We've made a death pledge with all these different gods or these different high holy days, right? Like Halloween. We have a high holy day, right? Which is the witches' high holy day, right? A witch's high holy day is Halloween or Samhain, right? And because we've made a pledge with these things, well, we're experiencing death and destruction, like Christmas, right? Christmas and the rest of these different high holy days that can be tied back to the witch's wheel of the year. Okay, it says shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones, and I will set my face against that man and will cut him off from among his people, because he hath given of his seed unto Molech to defile my sanctuary and to profane my holy name. That's all that this is. What these people are doing, all they're doing is doing profane things. They're profaning the holy name of the Heavenly Father, right? That's what I always say. These people are not finding out some new truth, some new hidden knowledge. All they're doing is profaning the righteousness of Yahweh. That's all that they're doing. Yahweh says, don't lay with animals. What do witches and warlocks say? That's how we're going to get our power. And mainly because they cannot tap into the power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, right? That's why most women have to turn to witchcraft. Most women have to turn to witchcraft because they will never experience divine energy from Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. That's why Miriam, right? When you go to Miriam, Miriam was jealous of Moses because Moses, right, his face shined bright because he tapped into that divine energy of Yahweh. She felt because she was older than him that she should be dealing with that divine. She couldn't, so the Most High cursed her, right? The Most High cursed her. And the majority of people, right, are trying to tap into that divine energy, that divine wisdom, and they never will get it because the Most High, Yahweh, through his son Yahweh Shai, is only dealing with a remnant, only dealing with a very small remnant, starting with the 144,000. Right? That's who they're dealing with. Right? That divine energy, that divine wisdom, which we call the Rakah Kodash, right? That Holy Spirit. The only people that are tapped into that is a very small number. Okay, so it reads, and I will set my face against that man, and will cut him off from among his people, because he hath given of his seed unto Molech to defile my sanctuary and to profane my holy name. And if the people of the land do any ways hide their eyes from the man when he giveth of his seed unto Molech, and kill him not, then I will set my face against that man and against his family, and will cut him off, and all that go a whoring after him to commit whoredom with Molech from among their people. See, this is how men commit whoredom. This is spiritual harlotry or spiritual fornication, right? That's how men become whores. So Kanye West is a whore, right? He's a whore for his different gods, mainly Pan, mainly Baphomet, right? That's who they fornicate with. This is spiritual fornication that we're watching, right? We're watching spiritual fornication. We're watching, even though we're not seeing Northwest perform any sexual acts, we're actually watching it, right? This is child abuse right here, right in front of our eyes. Believe it or not. Believe it or not, we're watching child ritualistic abuse right before our eyes. Believe it or not.
By the Kardashian mob, Hulu, and Disney, and the bigger agenda to use the select.
Did you hear what he said? Hulu and Disney. So this is bigger than any one of us because they're trying to indoctrinate the whole world, which they already have. Even we, right, the brothers that are in the truth, we have been indoctrinated because we grew up watching Looney Tunes. We grew up watching Disney, and we grew up watching all the rest of the degenerate shit like Sailor Moon, right? I don't know if brothers remember a TV show called Sailor Moon, but Sailor Moon, Sailor Venus, Sailor Mars, Sailor Jupiter, that's all witchcraft. That was, if you remember that cartoon, that was all witchcraft. We grew up on Dragon Ball Z. We grew up on, even though the brothers in the truth, we equate Dragon Ball Z to us getting our powers and getting our new bodies. But you have to remember, that was all witchcraft. We grew up on watching, what is it called? Pokemon and all these different high-level witch cartoons. That's how we grew up, man. See, look, this is, right? So it's so funny that when the brothers in the truth, when we tell you that these young women should be married, oh my gosh, you guys believe in marrying 12-year-old girls? You guys are wicked. You guys are the worst. But then look what you people promote. Look what you people celebrate. Right? This is okay. This is completely fine. Ain't nothing wrong with this.
Bred black children to be platformed to influence other black people. Of course, you want to understand, but he's basically saying his child was taken from him by the Kardashians, Hulu, and Disney, and it's all for him.
Yeah, but guess what? Kanye West already knew this. He already knew that his wife was a part of a witch coven, right? The Kardashians are a witch coven going all the way back to their grandmother or even their great grandmother, because their mother was and is still a witch. Their grandmother, if she's still alive, I don't remember, she was a witch, right? Just like Manny Pacquiao's mother and the rest of them, just like Diddy's mother. Diddy's mother is a witch, and so on and so forth, right? Just like oh my gosh, what's that? Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus, her father is a warlock, and so on and so forth. All right, this thing is deep, brothers. This thing of ours is deep. That's why I make these videos. I make these videos because they go into things that sometimes people can't see. And you're not meant to see, because a lot of you are blind to truth, right? A lot of us watch, a lot of us come into this thing thinking, oh, we're just going to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. This is above keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments. This thing of ours is about deliverance. We need to be delivered. We need to be delivered from these bodies of sin, right? These chains, which is our bodies. We need Yahweh Shai. That's who we need. We need Yahweh to send Yahweh Shai. We need to get the fuck out of here. Just like that man said in the Matrix, right? He's just like, yo, the longer I'm here, the more I'm being permeated with this filth. And that's the same thing with us. The longer that we're here, the longer that we're in Babylon, it's not going to get better. Don't think that the longer you're in the truth, you're going to become a super Israelite. There's no such thing as a super Israelite. We need to get the fuck out of here. That is our goal. Our goal is to teach the word, right? In season and out of season. Prophesy the destruction. Prophesy the MOTB. Prophesy the World War III. And to prophesy the deliverance. The deliverance by Yahweh Shai through the power of Yahweh. We need to get the fuck out of this place, because this place is getting worse and worse. That's why the scripture says that unless the Heavenly Father cut the time short, then there would be no flesh left to be fucking saved. What do you think that means? Do you think the longer that we're here, the better? No. The longer we're here, the worse. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. The scripture says that the righteous shall scarcely be saved. But you people don't know what this truth is all about. A lot of you people listen to us. A lot of you people watch us. And you have no fucking idea. You have no idea what this thing is all about. Right? Just like the prophets of old, just like the men of old, the servants of the Most High, the disciples, they were fighting to get the hell up out of here. Right? So let me get one more scripture and then end it off there. Now this is 2 Kings chapter 21, verse 2. And it reads, and he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. And who's this talking about? This is talking about King Manasseh. Right? And guess how old he was? He was only 12 years old when he began to rule. Right? And it says, and he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord after the abominations of the heathen, whom the Lord cast out before the children of Israel. Okay? Verse 3 says, for he built up again the high places which Hezekiah his father had destroyed, and he reared up altars for Baal, right? Baal, gods like Baphomet, gods like Pan, right? The gods that we know today, and made a grove and did a grove as did Ahab, king of Israel, and worship all the host of heaven and serve them. Okay? The moon, the stars, right? The sun. And he built altars in the house of the Lord, of which the Lord said in Jerusalem, will I put my name, verse 5 says, and he built altars for all the host of heaven in the two courts of the house of the Lord. This is why we're in the condition that we're in today. Today. That's why we're in the condition that we're in today, man. All right? Verse 6 says, and he made his sons pass through the fire and observe times, right? Like the witch's wheel of the year. Observing times is you people that celebrate Halloween, you people that celebrate Christmas, you people that celebrate birthdays, you people that celebrate Groundhog's Day, and so on and so forth. Mother's Day, Father's Day. That's you observing the times. That's the witch's wheel of the year. Google the witch's wheel of the year, and if you observe any of those, that's observing the times. And used enchantments and dealt with familiar spirits and wizards, and he wrought much wickedness in the sight of the Lord to provoke him to anger. And that's why we're in the condition that we're in today, because we are provoking the Most High to anger. Okay? So, all right, with that, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the elders and elder apostles of GMS that rule well and that teach well, and to the brothers on the four corners of the earth doing this work in truth and in sincerity, only to the elect, the 1/3 and the 144,000. Shalom to you and to you only, and to the rest of you demonic people, death and destruction.